Before time was measured, before the world became loud, there was a remembering written in your soul. A remembering of who you are beneath the roles, the striving, the forgetting. There comes a time when the veil thins and the old ways of living no longer fit. You feel it as a pull, a quiet ache, a knowing that something ancient within you is ready to awaken. This is the path of alignment. Alignment is not effort, it is remembrance. When you align, your intuition sharpens like a flame, your energy settles into your body, your life begins to move in rhythm with the unseen. The Moon Goddess training is a sacred initiation into this remembrance. Through the Akashic Records, the timeless field of soul memory, you journey beyond time and space into the ancient temples of the Nile. As you enter them, something within you unlocks. Layers dissolve, old wounds soften, your inner sight opens. You remember how to listen, how to trust, how to move through life, guided rather than forced. This is the return of the aligned woman, rooted in her body, open in her heart, clear in her knowing. She no longer searches outside herself, she remembers the way. If your soul is listening now, this is your invitation. The Moon Goddess training begins soon, and the path opens the moment you say yes. Satnam and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gobind and this is your channel for grace, and today we have Ashley here with me because we're going to be diving into everything Moon Goddess training, focusing on level 1 of the training and showing you what we feel are like the most amazing aspects of this program and what we really love, and also show you the expansiveness of what you actually get when you sign up for the Moon Goddess training. So how are you, Ashley? It's good to see you here and have you back on the channel.
Oh my God, hello. I'm so excited to be here. I'm literally so excited to freaking talk about the Moon Goddess training. Also, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing really good.
I've literally been buzzing all day thinking about talking about the Moon Goddess training because, like, I have taken this course before and I've got to share it with people, like my experiences. And every time I talk about it, even if I'm like super low vibe or tired, like I literally feel my energy like raising as I'm like, you have no idea, all these things, it's so amazing. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm super, super excited to be here tonight.
I know, me too. This program is like, I always say it's like my baby. I developed it in 2022. Well, before that, it like started, it was birthed before 2022, but it was in 2022. And it was right when Matthias was beginning the, the activations. It was like the 22222 portal, and they were in Egypt for that. And I remember Dawn went, and it was that year that the Moon Goddess training just kind of took on a life of its own. And it showed me, there was a point where it showed me how it wanted to be designed. And it was very specific. And so it's stayed like this for the last, was this like 4 years? But every year that we've done the Moon Goddess training, the power within it just seems to kind of grow and like get stronger. And like this last year was amazing. Like, holy moly, the Moon Goddesses that just graduated from level 3 of 2025 did an amazing job, and they just absolutely loved the experience, and they learned so much. What was your take on this year's group? Because you also came in this year, 2025, as a mentee, and learning to do kind of like the backside of stuff, and be involved in a whole new way. We actually worked one-on-one with all the students, and that really enhanced the experience of the program. We're going to do that again this year. But what was it like for you to watch the women go through the program, now being on the other side?
It honestly warmed my, like, the amount of love and gratitude that I felt in my heart to be beside these women and watch them, like, initially come in and kind of not really know, like, what we know what we're signing up for, but we don't really know. And then when I got to do some one-to-one with them and kind of see where they're at in their journey and really get to connect with them individually, and then see this, like, transformation or, like, power just come over them once they started to do the teachings, started to do their inner work, and realized, like, holy shit, like, I am, like, this magnetic, vibrant being. And so it was just, like, I loved watching everyone from start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. I am going to double check. There's somebody saying in the chat that there's an echo. So let me just deal with that real quick. Let me just check what it sounds like. That's interesting. I have no idea why I would be doing that. Okay, so it's when you're talking for some reason that the echo is happening. Thanks for saying that, you guys, though, because it's important. So I'm going to do my best to try to fix it. I don't think it's anything that you're doing. I wonder if I've got, I don't know why this says sign in on my thing. Before we continue, so that you're not over there having like an annoying sound issue going on. Let me try turning that off. Advance. So let's turn that off. Dang. Sorry, I'm going through my settings, obviously. Unexpected. I wonder why it's doing that. Reset default meeting live stream. Meeting info. Yeah, I'm like literally browsing through all the freaking options here to see what it is. What about? Anyways, well, let's just keep going, and then hopefully maybe I can figure it out. Okay. So anyways, we'll see if it continues. I was thinking of turning off. I think it was off though. The I'm not seeing the option though. The option for sorry. I'm like, where did original sound for musicians option go? Okay, I'm just gonna let it be, and then if it keeps going, like we're sorry, but okay, whatever. I'm like, I actually fixed one thing, and then another thing is not working, you know? Okay, so anyways, there's no echo while I'm talking, so I'm just gonna continue for a moment, and then while you're talking, I'll play with the settings again, because I don't want to stop for too long. But anyways, okay. So what we are doing here, first of all, I just want to say thank you for everybody for being here, whether you're watching this video live or whether you are watching the replay of the video. And I do want to encourage everybody that's watching to make sure that you give this video a thumbs up and that you leave a comment below, especially if you're watching the replay. We're going to cover a lot of information today, and we know questions will come up. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, make sure to put them in the comment section of the video, and I get notifications when the comments come on, so I'll be able to answer your questions. So if anything comes up, so that I can answer questions about the program that you have, and then that way, you know, we get closer and closer to, you know, figuring out if this is the right thing for you to do. All right. So the questions that I want to ask primarily are basically, what is the Moon Goddess training? It's so comprehensive of a program. There's so much within this program that I feel like it's always challenging to put words, like to summarize what the Moon Goddess training is, because it's so freaking expansive. But essentially what it is the modern day version of the ancient mystery schools. And I really feel like that totally resonates with what this is, because, and we'll go over all the information, but because of all the things that we cover in the program are essentially, it's like you go back in time and you become a student in the ancient Atlantean path. And it is that freaking powerful of an experience where we're covering both like the intellectual side of everything. The lectures cover like the information. And then we're also covering the embodiment part of the teachings. So we're integrating everything at the same time. It's like a really full rounded, we're gathering in like community. So like you're not all by yourself in this experience. We're coming together like every week. And that is probably the most powerful thing about the program, is the sisterhood that builds throughout the year, of us going through this experience together, the same group of women for all, you know, a whole year. And that makes it even more powerful even. So the program is designed into 3 different levels. So level 1, you're learning the fundamentals of everything. We're going to talk about everything level 1 today. And you'll be like, wait, there's more? Yeah, there's more. Like there's 2 other levels besides what we're going to talk about today. Also, it is designed that way. So level 2 then becomes the more of working on integrating everything, but through the lens of healing trauma. And we open ourselves to the experience of the Venus sequence in the gene keys in level 2, which is the map of our wounding, our childhood wounding. So then it gets a little bit deep and it gets a little bit intense in level 2, because we go into our shadow work. And then once we have like gone through those 2 experiences, we have a level 3, which is the official Akashic Record Reader certification, where you get certified to read the Akashic Records. And I also have a very unique way of approaching the Akashic Records. And a lot of level 1 is teaching you what the Akashic Records is, and how to communicate with the information found within the Akashic Records. And it's designed that way because every level progresses forward, and like you get a whole complete experience in the end, including a certification, which is amazing. A lot of people definitely think that that's one of the coolest pieces of the program. So what I want to show you is a clip of one of the lectures, which is one of the very first lectures that you watch in the training. And it talks about the temples along the Nile and the significance of the temples along the Nile. And it'll speak for itself, but we thought it would be really cool for you guys to get an opportunity to see that. So let me share the video. I'm gonna find it right over here. And one second. Guru, Guru Waheguru, to fast forward. You should be able to hear me, but I am going to fast forward to the points where I want to us to actually watch. Okay, here we go. Interesting as well about this path. So here we go. Here's the temple over here of Abu Simbel. This is the temple of Isis. You've got Kom Ombo. You've got Horus, Temple of Horus right there. You've got the Temple of Karnak. You've got Dendera. Abydos, which is actually the Osirian temple. And then you'll notice something, that between these ones down here, the ones at the bottom are temples, while everything above this point is actually a pyramid. There's no more temples. They're all pyramids. You've got the Dashur and Saqqara pyramid. That's the one that we're going to go into. And then you got the 3 pyramids of Giza, and then you have, I mean, all of those are perfect sacred geometric shapes. Like, not exaggerating. They are literal perfect sacred geometric shapes, which is what makes them really significant. So this is why the temples were built. The other thing is that the actual temples along the Nile most of them are temples that were built on top of ancient Atlantean temples. So they're like the ruins of the ruins of the ruins of the original Atlantean temples. It's almost like, when something holds a sacred space, it's like, okay, we're going to keep building something on top of this. You see like churches built over like ancient places in the world. You see this just kind of happening over and over again all over the world, where like there's a sacred spot and things keep being built on top of it. This is kind of the same. So the temples that are up today are actually ruins, but of temples that were built on top of the original temples. There's only really one that's original, or 2 basically, like the Pyramid of Giza and the Osirian temple are the 2 that actually are originals from the Atlantean times. But all of the other ones were built on top of the ruins of the ancient Atlantean temples. So the path goes along the Nile and ends at the delta at the Pyramid of Giza. So basically our journey starts at the bottom. It starts at the Temple of Abu Simbel, which is the root. Isis is the sacral chakra, so is Kom Ombo and Horus. Karnak is the solar plexus. Temple of Dendera is the heart, or Osirian is the throat. Saqqara is the third eye. And obviously we've been talking about this, that the Pyramid of Giza is the crown. That's how we're going to be going through each of these temples in this journey here. So one more thing I wanted to talk about here. Okay, right. So the connection between let me do, how do I like minimize there? Yeah, do that. So here we go. These 3 temples in the Pyramid of Giza, if you point up towards the universe or towards the sky, there's 3 stars that they point to. Anybody want to guess which ones they point up to? Or anybody know? Yep, Orion's belt. Nice. So that's what they point to. Yeah, Lisa said the belt.
So that's the power of that. So what does the Sphinx? The Sphinx was the protector of the pyramids. But the Sphinx, who was originally was actually a lioness, not the face of a pharaoh. They actually carved later on, one of the pharaohs carved his face onto the Sphinx. But the original thing was actually a lioness that protected the temple complex, the pyramid complex. And symbolically, what it was actually protecting was Orion's belt, which, according to the ancient Atlanteans, is a map that spirals out and shows us the center of the universe, the ninth dimension. It's actually the Akashic of the universe. And that is what the Sphinx was actually protecting. But within the pyramid complex, the reason it was built, I mean, we'll go into this week by week, but the reason the Great Pyramid was built and the pyramids themselves were like, from this point on, there was no more temples, there was pyramids, is because once we learned all of the basic stuff, when you get to your third eye and the crown, the learning was through sacred geometry. And the pyramids are sacred geometry. So when you sit inside of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is exactly at 33 degrees latitude, longitude above the equator, you are literally sitting at the center of the web of the world. They felt this spot, they knew it was here, and that's why they built the pyramid there. That's why you became those who speak with the world. And the whole journey going up the Nile was basically to learn how to do that. So that's what we're going to do. But so, what did you guys think about that? Pretty cool, right? And that is kind of essentially why the program, especially level 1, is designed the way it is. We're moving through the temples along the Nile, and each temple holds like a story, holds a lesson. And I just got this intuitive hit that that is how this journey needed to move forward. So yeah, if there's anything you want to share, I don't know if I was able to fix the audio, you guys, but just go ahead and talk, Ashley, and we'll just see how it goes.
I was just getting like body chills thinking about traveling because like when we go through these journeys, it's like astral traveling basically to do the work in these temples, and it's like the frequency that you feel in them is like otherworldly. So as I'm re-listening to that, I'm like, oh my God, I can feel my like body lighting up, knowing where the direction that we're headed.
Yeah, totally. I'm at the same time like trying to figure out the sound.
Am I still echoing?
Hang on. I think I fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, let me know if I fixed it, you guys. But you're gonna hear it like it's so crazy. We'll figure this out later also. Okay. So yes, that's the magic. And I actually wanted to share, let's do a little screen share of the actual workbook. Let's find it right here. Okay, so yeah, but let us know if we fix the audio, the little echo. Okay, so here is the temple initiations like handout. It's basically what I call it, and it shows you the roadmap of the program, specifically level 1. So what happens is, as we move temple by temple, we activate a chakra. So it starts at the bottom at the root chakra and it goes up towards the crown chakra. So in the temple of Abu Simbel, we're learning about the root chakra along with the law of the universe that relates to this temple, which is the law of polarity, the law of polarity and sexuality. So we're starting to learn about duality and the nature of that in the temple of Abu Simbel. Then we move to the temple of Isis and we're learning about the sacral chakra, Also the law of generation, purification, rebirth, the great mother. It's like the birthing of us. So we are in a sense we're birthing ourselves through the experience as we go temple by temple. Then we go to the temple of Kom-Ombo, also learning about the sacral chakra. In fact, the temple of Kom-Ombo and the temple of Horus both split like this sacral chakra into two. It's like the positive and the negative, like the shadow and the light. And in the temple of Kom-Ombo, we continue to learn about the law of polarity and generation, but we learn about the darkness. We learn about the negative aspect of the being, our fears, our trauma, and how as ancient initiates in the mystery schools, we had to go through the shadow work, like deep shadow work, in order, like face our fears in order for us to grow and evolve. So then when we get to the temple of Horus, you continue this theme, but now you're looking at the positive aspect of the being, the light, and the different perspectives of reality, which in essence is another word for saying the 9 dimensions of the universe. So we move to the temple of Karnak, which activates the solar plexus chakra. This is the law of cause and effect. And this is essentially, we're learning how to anchor ourselves in our physical body. And this is where we learn the systems of the body and the body as a temple. And what does that actually mean? Then we move to the temple of Hathor, which activates the heart chakra and the law of rhythm. And we learn about cosmology, astrology, the Merkaba, sacred sexuality, and love. And along this whole journey, we're also connecting the laws of the universe and the dimensions to sacred geometry and learning about sacred geometry itself, specifically the 5 Platonic solids and their relationship to astrology. And actually, I remember one of my favorite parts of the program is when you get to this temple of Hathor, we put together the sacred geometry in a way that will blow your mind at how it connects to astrology. Then we move to the Osirian temple, which activates the throat chakra, and we learn about the law of vibration, the purification of the voice, chanting. We actually, every week, as we're going through the temples, there's a different meditation as well that connects, that opens up that chakra. So it's like super, super designed to like really carry you on this journey, almost like if you were like literally there and you're experiencing it, not just like I said, intellectually, but in your body as well. So this is about frequency activation. And we also learn about, sound healing and the power of sound. Then we get to the temple of Dashur and Saqqara, which in essence begins the pyramid aspect that I was just talking about in that video. This is more about higher like octave of understanding. So we're talking about the third eye chakra, seeing the unseen, hearing the unheard. We learn about the law of correspondence, what it means, how to understand it and relate it to our own lives, the experiences in our lives. We learn about calibration, activation of consciousness, and opening the third eye. And then when we get to the last week, we arrive at the Great Pyramid, which is teaching us about the crown chakra, the law of mentalism. There's a water activation, spirit and the divine, the Akashic and the flower of life, and the planetary web. So that is like the flow of how everything like moves through this journey. And you'll notice that like the temples start like at the bottom of the Nile in the root, and when you travel the Nile, it actually takes you towards the crown chakra. So it's literally like you're floating through the river to get to going from temple to temple, and gaining awareness, gaining self knowledge, gaining wisdom, and growing and like really evolving and expanding your sense of self knowing. So Ashley, do you have any comments about just this particular aspect of the training?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, as you move, I kind of mentioned before, as you move through each temple, like, you kind of feel like the heaviness or the denseness, like lightning. And then once you get up past the throat and you come into the third eye and Giza, it's like this. It's almost like you can literally feel each energy center just like activated, and then move up, activated, and you just keep rising and rising and rising.
Yes, I know. It's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other thing that is really awesome, so the next thing that we want to talk about is that as we are moving through the Moon Goddess training, you're not just like learning things through the mind. There's a part of this program that's very much linked to the embodiment of the teachings. And that's why it's so it can be so life-changing and life-altering, right? So the first part that is important to talk about is the fact that we do a 40-day meditation. In fact, we do a 40-day meditation for each of the levels. In level 1, and in each level, the meditation is different. It also comes from the practice of Kundalini yoga. And it also takes a lot of like the themes of what we're learning, and it begins to really like bring it down into the body. I actually want to share with you from our workbook. Well, this is exactly what we were saying, but the cool thing about it is that there is a workbook. I just want to show you guys as I scroll here. And you get this. There's an actual like that you can get a hard copy version of the workbook. You can get you can get just the PDF. Everybody gets the PDF, but it's really cool to have this like printed out. So this is basically the meditation that we do for level 1. And what it does is it activates all of our chakras. That's a big part of this meditation. You learn mantras to tune in, to create sacred space, to call in like the 4 directions and the protection. And you learn a type of practice that's called long chant ek onkars, which activate the chakras all the way from the root to the crown. It's actually really fun to do. I loved doing this specific meditation. I just love it. And then once you do that activation of all the chakras, which is, again, it's like the Kundalini rising, we dive into a piece of a different meditation that is called Kirtan Kriya. And we're working with this mantra, which is Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And this is a concept that is very important when you are learning like about all of this stuff, that teaches you about the cycles of birth, life, death, and rebirth. So Sa is infinity. It's the cosmos. It's the beginning, essentially representing birth. Ta means life, existence. Na means death, change, and transformation. And Ma is rebirth. So birth, life, death, and rebirth. And you're learning to chant this. You're activating through the mantra, through the chants, your ability to tune in and to, in a sense, like begin to surrender to the cycles that are naturally always showing up in life. And this concept is also part of us understanding like the story of creation and the beginning of the universe, and how the universe itself is going through these cycles. Earth is going through these cycles. We're going through these cycles. So we're going to experience this by tuning into the frequency of this mantra. There's mudras with it. It's super fun. And what we're doing also is we're activating different aspects of the self. So you chant this mantra in like a normal voice. So that's activating the physical aspect, your body. And then you chant it in like a whisper voice, which activates the energy, body, the soul. And then you chant it silently through the mind, which activates the vibration aspect of us, the spirit aspect of us. So what was your favorite thing, Ash, about this specific meditation that you remember, your experience?
Okay, so when I started this training, I was the type of girl that literally wanted to like I wanted to be dedicated at meditating or anything like that. And I really, really struggled with this. But because this is a consistent 40 days, what I actually learned or taught myself was that through this commitment of 40 days turned into total devotion. Like I woke up and was like, it was the first thing on my mind because it just like centered me right in. I connected right in. And there wasn't oh, what's going on in my mind over here? It was just, you were dialed in. And yeah, like moving from commitment to devotion was such a like, holy shit moment for me. And like, I won't lie, it wasn't easy in the beginning. Like, it's like, sometimes you kind of feel like you're like, I can't even do it, like patting your head and rubbing your belly because of like the mudra and then the mantra and then your eye position and your seat position. But once you get the hang of it, it's like, nothing can come into your space and shake you because you're just like blinders on and you're honed right into that meditation. So that was like, those were the biggest takeaways for me when I did that meditation.
I know the aspect of devotion. I'm so glad you brought that up. So part of why we do 40 days is because it takes 40 days to like change a habit and to like let go of an old habit, set in a new habit, like change your energy, change your frequency. And so many of us live through life like we all have addictions, you know. They could be, you could have like a food addiction, you could have like a sugar addiction, you could have like a drug addiction, you could have like alcohol addiction. All those addictions, quote unquote addictions, are ways that we are essentially avoiding like deeper work. And so without something to help you navigate those waters, it can be very challenging. And I think it's the reason why most people never heal from like these kind of intense things that have a grip on us, kind of like the devil card in the tarot. But when you do a 40-day meditation, that's what you're doing. You're working on clearing your habits and setting a new habit. So 40 days is like the prescription. Usually for a lot of meditations, a lot of practices takes 40 days. You got to commit, and it becomes like, like if you've never done anything like it before, you start to feel like a reverence for the practice. You start to feel like such a deep connection with yourself, and you start to like love yourself a little bit more and take care of yourself a little bit more. And, you know, you're no longer like just brushing things off. You're actually taking responsibility for something that you can control. And this meditation teaches you so much beyond just like sitting and meditating. This one is like actually full on. It also works to clear the subconscious. And so I remember like a lot of the women in the training talked about how they started to have really vivid dreams while they started to do the meditation, and that because you're working at like the subtle levels, the psychic levels, the physical level, like everything. So it's fully packed with like every little piece of the journey that you could possibly need to help you. All this is meant to help you along the way so you can really integrate everything. So that really was one of the coolest, it is one of the coolest things about the Moon Goddess training. Specifically, we're talking about all of this, by the way, is all level 1. Okay, so another topic that we learn in in level 1 is the concept of the moon centers. And the moon centers are these, there's centers on the body. There's one above the head, one below the feet, and then the rest are on the body, and they're on the body of the woman. And they are connected to emotional frequencies. So when you're going to be just like the moon, flowing like every 2.5 days, your energy shifts. We know this as women, especially like, because when we go through our like menstrual cycle, you know, if you think about all the phases of menstruation, you're like, there's a moment during the month where you're like, you feel amazing. Then there's a moment during the month where you feel like shit. And so it's kind of the same with the moon centers. It's this concept that it's tied to emotions, and every woman has their own unique flow of the moon center. So we learn to track our moon centers. We start to really watch and observe. So part of the journey is we journal every day. And one of our goddesses, couple years ago, she created this like chart for herself to go every day, sit down and tune into all her moon centers and figure out which one is the one that I'm expressing the strongest right now. Like, which emotional frequency am I like fully in right now? And again, it's every 2.5 days that changes. So you really have to start paying attention to where you're at and how you feel and all these things. But I wanted to share what, she created this, and then I made it digital so that everyone in the class could use it. And it's actually really cool. So it shows you like the moon phases, and traditionally you would start to observe these on a new moon. And so you jot down like, okay, new moon, and you watch and you observe yourself moving every day. And eventually you get through the whole wheel. And it's actually such a cool way of like understanding how these cycles are working through you, where you're at in the process, and what does this awareness bring you. And I think more than anything, because in level 2, we dive into like relationship. What's happening here is like, you're learning where you're at and you're learning what you're expressing. And that's the first step to healing relationships, is you focus on yourself first. You start to understand yourself and your flow and where you're at in life. And so you can navigate better. And when you're coming into relationship, it's less blaming other people and more taking accountability and responsibility for yourself. So this is part of this process. And this is what you learn to do also in the training. Okay. Do you want to share a little bit about your process of like learning about your moon centers, Ash?
Yeah, so moon centers for me, like in the beginning, were there's quite a lot of them. So like, and then like knowing which center you're in like the low vibe of it, when you're exalted or not. So like learning that was a lot. But I started, like, once you start consistently journaling and using that wheel, you can really hone in on like, it becomes a cycle. And what I did was, and Jai kind of mentioned it, like when you like are on your moon cycle, you kind of act a certain way through each stage of that. But I noticed like, okay, in this time of the month for me, I knew which centers I was going to be coming into. I knew if they were going to be like in the gnarly vibe or if they were going to be exalted. And so like I started once I got in this rhythm of it, I would go about my day and I could feel, because I believe you said it's like every 2.5 days it switches. So I'd be like trucking along, and then all of a sudden I'd stop and be like, I am in my cheeks center and I'm saucy as fuck right now. Like I felt the shift of each moon center. So it was really cool to be like, oh, okay, I know that this part of my cycle's coming up. So I can kind of prepare myself and people around me for what's going to happen. So it was really fun to learn that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And it's like this is the one thing my husband, so speaking of like relationships, when my husband learned about the moon centers, he was so interested. He was like, wait a minute, this makes sense. Hold on. Tell me again. Like, wait, say that again. What happens? And so I started to tell him when I was in specific like moon centers, and then what, there's different frequencies, just like in the Gene Keys where you have like a shadow, a gift, and a city. It's the same thing for the moon center. So you can be like in the shadow, the gift, or the city of the moon center. And you'll start to notice that like, oh, wow, I kind of tend to be really in the shadow every time I switch energy. But he was so curious about where are you at now? So he could understand me better and relate to me better and not feel like super confused about what was going on with me and try to understand. So that is a really cool thing to teach our partners about as well. But we have to learn it within ourselves. And yes, it is surreal though, like how real obvious it becomes after a while. Okay. So let's talk about one very, very powerful thing that we learn in the training, and it is all about your gene keys. So I'm sharing on the screen the page in the workbook where you get introduced to the gene keys. So the gene keys has 3 different sequences. So sequence number 1 is called the activation sequence. Sequence 2 is called the Venus sequence. And sequence 3 is called the Pearl sequence. And each of these 3 sequences guides you deeper and deeper into, first of all, you like grab the key, you get the key and you turn it, and you turn yourself on. You activate your purpose. Then you go deep into the shadow work to heal old traumas, old wounds, and then the work happens in the realm of relationship. And then finally, once you do that work, then you can activate the Pearl sequence, which is all about prosperity. So these 3 sequences are separated between the 3 different levels. So it takes us a whole year to learn the entire thing. But for the first level, we're focusing on the activation sequence, which essentially tells you what's your life's work, what you're here to do, what's your evolution, what is the way that you will have, where are you going to have the deepest breakthroughs in your life, and what's going to happen when you start to really do the work. Your radiance, which is that true light that shines from within, it's what keeps you healthy. Like when you're doing the work, you are healthier, you are happier, you're like glowing. It's your glow, and eventually this leads to your purpose, which is not about doing, it is about embodiment and just being. So this is the journey that we take in level 1, and it's so powerful because you learn that your life and your purpose is so much more dynamic than you can imagine. And it opens up the door to like contemplate your life in a completely new way, which can be very, very refreshing. You also learn that there's different, there's a shadow, a gift, and a city for each of these energies, for each of these spheres. And you're going to express these like throughout your whole life. So the journey is about becoming aware of the shadows so you can learn to transmute these shadows into your gifts. So it's very eye-opening, and Ashley's going to share her journey about it, because in the beginning it was a challenging thing to like come into the acquaintance of, it's like a mirror, right? It's like you're looking at yourself, this mirror, and it's kind of mind-blowing. What do you remember from about learning the activation sequence?
Yeah, okay. As you were talking about like life's work, unlocking a door, I just had this visual of like, it almost seems like kind of gnarly, but like your soul, and it's got like these chains around it, and there's locks all on this visual that I'm seeing, and each sphere you're unlocking and you're freeing yourself. But when I experienced the gene keys, I was like, what kind of sorcery is this shit that I'm learning? Because I have I've gone to like see mediums, and I've like had astrology readings. I've had all these things, and even seeing conventional therapists. And one singular little sphere that resides in the gene key chart just gutted me in the most beautiful way. But like I was saying, like putting a mirror in front of you where you think like, oh, I'm evolved. Oh, I don't have problems here. And then you like start to read the energy of what each sphere represents for you. And you're like, ooh, shit. And like, don't get me wrong. Sometimes there was like in the beginning, I didn't feel like I actually resonated with any of it, because I was still actually, if you think of it, very much in my wounding and very much in my trauma, that I couldn't even see the perspective that the gene key was trying to give to me. So it blew my freaking mind. But once I like really dove down that hole with the gene keys, I was like, what like an exhale, like a breath of fresh air, like, oh, this is what I'm here to do. This is how I keep myself healthy. This right here is probably going to be an icky time that I'm constantly might be triggered, and that's okay because I get stronger and stronger every time I come up against this wound or this pain point or whatever. And I know that the more work I do, the more solid I am in myself, which, like, again, lets you go deeper into the darker aspects of you unbothered.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a wild ride, but it is something that I preach to everyone that I talk to, that you need to know your gene keys. I promise you it's life changing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember this journey. When I first started looking into my gene keys, the one sphere, it's always been the most powerful one. It's my life's work, and it's the 35th gene key. It goes from the shadow of hunger to the gift of adventure to the city of boundlessness. So there's just something about the frequency of this gene key that just is so exciting to me. And I feel like, yes, this is it. This is me. So there was a part of the process where I felt so seen and like as a projector, I was like, this is so important for me to be seen in my own uniqueness and in my own like light. And it really does do that for you. Everybody's got a different activation sequence. It depends on the time that you were born, the location of birth, like all of that. And it has the potential to literally activate you and your life. You have to be open to go through the process. But the thing is that the entire training is guiding you through the process, because as we're learning about these spheres, we take like one at a time. We're going home and we're listening to that chapter or reading that chapter in the book. We're journaling, when has this energy like showed up in my life? What does my life feel like when I'm in the shadow, in the gift, in the city? And then also, what's the deepest, what am I learning about myself here? And it's beautiful because it's kind of like a flower that's like opening up. And the more that you study yourself, the more that it's like you're peeling. It's also like the onion, like you're peeling away the layers that are not you to find the real you. And there is this really important concept in human design. It's called conditioning and deconditioning. And the deconditioning has to happen, and we have to let go of all the things that we've adopted throughout our life that are literally not us. So belief systems, stories, even the addictions, like trying to like somehow hide, our true self. We just learned to, because it became a bit of a protection mechanism. So the Gene Keys journey has the potential to deeply, deeply help you heal, because when you allow yourself, you start to feel more seen. And I don't know, I think I was doing a reading a few days ago. Someone who was like, yeah, I saw my Gene Keys, but I didn't like it. Like it didn't resonate with me, just like you shared, Ash. And it was like, okay, so this is where it begins. It's okay for it to feel foreign. It's okay for it to feel like that's not me. That's a tall order, because of all the weight that is on top of that true light that lives within. So the Gene Keys is the process of like peeling away the layers, deconditioning, and letting the true you like come through. And it's so powerful. And we begin that journey here in the Moon Goddess Training Level 1. Another thing that we learn or that we like essentially experience in this program is the temple journeys, the Akashic journeys. So every week, remember that I went through the list of all the temples that we cover. Every week, there's an experience of everyone being guided. It's like a guided hypnosis, Akashic journey to each temple to experience the teachings of that temple. So we get to have an experience within the Akashic Records that takes us, back in time, activates our third eye, our intuition, our ability to see the unseen and hear the unheard. And we start to have these experiences through these Akashic journeys of what the Akashic Records are and what is my experience when I'm in the Akashic Records, and we start to like allow ourselves to see, what is our relationship to it. And that relationship is something that is initiated in level 1 and like fully flourishes in level 3. So what was your favorite part about the Akashic journeys?
I honestly loved, and like, keep in mind when I first did the training, I didn't really know what these were going to be, what they were going to look like. So I just kind of like went in very open minded to it. And one of my first experiences was like super potent, but it wasn't like this experience that you have in your mind's eye that's like you're trying to like piece together like what does this mean? Like it wasn't trying to figure it out. It was almost like a remembering, or like to me in my body it felt like coming home. Like all of a sudden I was like reunited with my family, like soul family. And then the more I did it, the more my journeys got bigger and bigger and like so crazy that I just couldn't even wrap my head around it. I was like, holy shit, like, this is intense. But then it also showed me that, because I've never in my life, obviously, until I started doing this work, thought like, oh, I'm intuitive. Like, I just like kind of thought that was something that maybe people were gifted with or something. But these journeys literally show you how your intuitive gifts start to come online. Like how Jai was saying, like you learn how to start communicating, or how the Akashic communicates with you, which is showing you your intuitive gifts. And then the one thing that I experienced in there was, and this was recently, was feeling very much like, why can't I think of the words? Ancestry. Like they were opening up the doors for me, and I knew in these journeys that I was healing ancestral lines. And it was like another like feeling in my body where I was like, okay, like I know what my purpose is. I know what I'm here to do. And it couldn't be more clearer to me. So these journeys really like opened that up for me.
You know what I remember? There was moments where we were going into the journey all together, and then the women, we always share afterwards, which is part of the fun part. It's like we share what we saw, and then a lot of times the women saw all the other women there.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a really, really cool experience to see like, oh my God, it's like we're going into this like ethereal place. We're having an experience together. We're like, we can see each other while we're there. It's almost like a dream. And again, the journeys are like, gentle hypnosis. It's a visualization. It's a guided journey. So they open up a whole new world of like magic, and that's the point, is to introduce you to going into the records and having an experience. So the first level is just guided journeys that are gentle so that they can help you to see, where you're at with it. Are you open to channeling information, to receiving information, not even channeling yet, but to receiving information from the Akashic? And you find out very quickly, through the journeys. And like Ashley said, you learn to get better and better at it, because you learn to relax more into the process and into the experience. And they can be really powerfully magical. Like, for example, like we journey back into like the temple of Isis, and we meet the goddess, and we, dance with each other in the, at the temple. And it's just like, there's no words really to describe it, but this is the part of it that like can be very eye-opening, I think. And healing too, because every time that you go into the Akashic Records, the journey itself, just going into the sacred space with the intention, and you come out and you're like, wow, I feel lighter. I feel different. It's the same thing that if you were going to go and have like a QHHT session, like a past life regression, you go in and then you come out and somehow you feel like you got energy work or something.
I was just going to say it's wild because I remember when I first did this, I remember there was times that I would reach out to you and be like, I'm not okay. Like in my home situation, I'm not okay and I can't do it today. And you were like, just try. I promise you when you step into the Akashic, you're going to notice a difference. And I felt resistance because I was like, I just can't get out of my own shit. But I would show up. And the second we go into the journeys, I'm like, oh, I do feel great. So yeah, it is like receiving healing on some level. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Very cool. Another thing that we learn in level 1 is we start our journey of learning astrology. So gene keys and astrology in level 1. And what we dive into is essentially like, I teach you how to read your natal chart. There's like a natal chart astrology guide that you get. It's part of the workbook. You learn to decipher all the different planets, like the sun. What does the sun represent? What's the moon, Venus, the rising, all the planets. And the way that you learn the astrology, I teach it in a way that you can then look at all the charts that you want, not just your own. So it's like you're learning also to look at other charts, not just your own chart. But you learn to decipher your natal chart. You learn to find psychic gifts in your natal chart. We have a whole section on like what markings in your astrology chart show you your psychic gifts. It's really fun. We also learn about the Venus phases. Like all of us were born during a specific Venus phase. So like Venus, if you know a planet and she's a star as well, she goes through like 9-month cycles where like she's like, she becomes she births herself as the evening star or as the morning star. Some of that, and like the evening star is a very celestial, lighter, more ethereal frequency of Venus. And then the morning star is like the more grounded. So you were born during like an evening star or a morning star. You learn what that means for you and your relationships. And the phase of the Venus that you were born under also is very important because it teaches you, it's almost like what phase of the moon were you born in? Like I was born during a crescent moon, and it's significant because my life is like a process. If you know what the crescent moon represents, this means that my whole life is a process of like watering the seeds and taking care of the plant so that it can like bloom. So there's specific phases that you learn which one is mine and what does that mean for me in terms of Venus. And then we learn like all this moon magic, right? It's like we learn the moon phases, how to like know what they mean. What does it mean when there's a new moon? What does it mean when there's a crescent moon, a first quarter square, gibbous, full moons, disseminating, third quarter balsamic, and then new again? You learn how to see that like in the chart. And you learn what your moon phase is, like I just mentioned. All of these things are all like in level 1. So we start to dive into like, how can we use astrology to also help us along this path? So of all those topics that I just mentioned, Ashley, which one was your favorite? Or just in general, what was your experience of learning about all these things in astrology? Did you know astrology before the Moon Goddess training started?
I did not. I was that basic girl that was like, I am an Aquarius and that's all I am. And then I realized, well, then there's your moon and then there's your rising. So like, no, there's much more than the Aquarius sun that you think you are. And so basic understanding. So I loved every part of this because in the beginning of like meeting Jai and coming onto her pages and stuff, like I wanted to learn astrology. So this was such a like extra, even more of an extra bonus because I was like, oh shit, like I'm going to learn all of this as well. And the one thing that I really liked learning about was the starseed markings.
Oh, that's
I had
right.
no idea
I forgot
what that
about that.
was.
Yeah, I did mention that. Yes.
I had no clue what that was. And like I had learned that I have a lot of, like I have this huge stellium in Capricorn that I have a lot of Lyran starseed energy in there. And when Jai like explained they are like the oldest souls in the galaxy, I was like, it was just one more check mark of, oh, I totally feel seen and heard again, because I shit you not, from the day I was born, all of my family has said, this little thing right here was born like way, she's an old soul. Like, how does she have all this knowledge and she's this freaking big? Like, she has been born to mother all of these mothers in this family. So I was like, what? This can be found in my chart? My God.
I
So
know.
that was like one of my most favorite parts of the astrology, was learning that.
Yeah, and we learn about the fixed stars. So that's how you learn the starseed astrology. We don't like dive so much into it, but like we learn about the major ones. Like, do you have Pleiades starseed markings? Do you have Orion? Do you have Ophiuchus? It is like really, really, really cool. And the starseed markings, they show you like your unique gifts and the qualities of your soul. And it could point to where you've had past lives. Like if you have a Pleiades starseed marking, then you had past lives in the Pleiades, and so on and so forth. So that part is really, really awesome. Another thing that we learn is about the dimensions of reality. And so the way that I teach the dimensions is that, I'll share it on the screen, is that there are 12 different dimensions. And the perspective of learning about the dimensions has everything to do with, you have to recognize that we are anchored in the third dimension, but there's many other dimensions. So the whole lesson, this dimensions section, we learn in the Temple of Horus, because we're learning about light and like how light refracts itself, how you see like the rainbow colors, even though light is like white. It's crazy. And the way that this is like integrated is that you learn that there are other perspectives out there in the universe. So we learn to take like to look at each different perspective, which is each dimension. And how would a person looking at my life, my experiences through this dimension, like see my experience? How would my experience be seen through this other dimension? How would my experience be seen through this dimension? And so, and you learn about like there's different beings that live and like inhabit these dimensions. And it's all a lesson in learning how to see everything from your eyes, but understand that the other person outside of you is having their perspective. And so it expands your mind. It's crazy because you think like, oh, why would I learn about the dimensions? Like, who cares? But when you learn that there's different ways of seeing one experience, you understand that your experience is not the only thing that's going on. So the whole concept of what I talked about earlier, which is like, we start to blame other people for things that are happening in our lives. It's like, what if they're not living literally in the same reality as you? So what does that teach you? It teaches you that your perspective on your life, on everything, is very unique to you. And if you can open your eyes to see more than just what you see, you will understand way more of how the universe works, and you will free yourself of like, why is nothing working out? Why can't I do this or do that or manifest this or manifest that? Sometimes it's like, maybe there's a missing piece, and the missing piece is that you didn't see this side of it, or you didn't see that side of it. It helps you to understand yourself, and it's a way of us stepping into more compassion, because we understand like, okay, that person in this experience in my life is probably having a completely different life about what's going on here. Well, I'm feeling like this, they may be feeling like that. That realization, that awareness will change so much in your life. So that's part of the reason why we learn about the dimensions themselves. The dimensions also are essentially teaching us about the story of creation and the awakening or the formation of the sacred geometry. And And then eventually we do tie in the sacred geometry to astrology, which also is a really cool, different way of seeing just astrology in general and the perspective. So what was your experience of learning about, the different dimensions of reality?
Yeah, I was gonna say how you mentioned like having more compassion. It really opened, like I hear judgment. And so like I used to come from a space of like, and I know that it's like conditioning from my family, but looking at people and just before even like I could feel in my body like I feel a certain way about this person, but my initial like my family beliefs is like charging forward and just seeing judgment. And with this, with the different perspectives, and it's really crazy and I won't get like down a hole in it, but my partner that passed away was the first person to teach me about this. And then when I learned with you about this, I was like, oh my God, he literally was teaching me perspective. Like, you have no idea what that person is experiencing right now. You're seeing it this way, but they are seeing it this way. Or like the biggest thing for me was judgment. Like you can't make a judgment of that person when you have no idea what's going on in their life. So it like allowed me to like look at every possible angle when I came to interacting with people. And another thing, and it's like doesn't happen all the time, but I know I have done journeys or meditations, and it's almost like a radio station where I've like dialed into something and I'm like, what dimension am I in? Because I'm not in the third dimension right now. And so it's really cool when you become super open to that. Those kinds of experiences can happen with you as well.
Yeah, and a lot of people talk about like, 5D and that there's, even Dolores Cannon talked about the splitting of the two worlds and that we would be in different dimensions. Like one would stay in the third and the other part of the group, the other people would go into the fifth dimension. And it literally is all about awareness.
Yeah.
It's like your awareness is like minimized the lower the dimension and it's expanded the higher the dimension.
Yeah.
It's amazing to learn about it. It's like, I feel like definitely an important piece of the entire puzzle of learning about all of these things about yourself. So you can see, I mean, those of you that are watching this video live or the replay, are you starting to get like an idea of like how profound this program can be? Speaking of profound, one of the topics that we talk about that is very significant is intuition. And what is intuition? What is your strongest intuitive gift? Why is it important to learn this? And it's because it's like the planting of the seeds for level 3. So we learn what intuition is, how it works, how to determine what is your strongest gifts. We literally go and talk about, I do like a whole lesson on like clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairaliens, clairgustance, all, clairknowing, like all of these different aspects of intuition that you might resonate with more. So I go through literally a list of different things. So for example, those names maybe mean nothing to you, but let's take clairaudience. So, or clairvoyance. It's psychic sight. So clairvoyance, it's like the ability to receive messages through images, through visuals. Clairaudience would be receiving messages through the auditory sense. It's all about the senses, essentially. Tuning in, like strengthening your senses to literally see the unseen and hear the unheard. For me, I'm very clairvoyant, so I see a lot of visuals and images. Some people hear songs or hear lyrics to a song, or they'll be driving their car and then a certain song pops up and it's like it's a message for them. That would be clairaudience. Clairgustance, it's like taste. And there's one about smell. So maybe you smell something and it's a specific smell that reminds you of something. All of these, so it's like the senses. Intuition is connected to the senses. We heighten our ability to perceive when we allow ourselves to receive messages in all of these different ways, that we pay attention, like, oh, I didn't realize that was intuition. Like, these are things that are so natural to us, especially I think women, but everyone, that are so natural to us that we don't even think that they're intuitive senses. But then you start coming up with like a bunch of examples of like, wait, that's happened to me before, and that's happened to me before. And you start to realize, holy shit, I guess I am intuitive. And it's an important process of like, opening yourself up, like cracking open the vessel of the true you and your true abilities. So it's a powerful lesson all about intuition. Do you remember the process of learning about intuition?
Yeah, it was like I was like almost like confused about it when we were starting to talk about it in the training, because I was like, again, I thought you had to be like born with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then the more you talked about it, the more practices we did, I realized, oh my God, I was doing this as a little kid. And I realized that I just squashed every part of that to do what I thought people needed me to do, or be what people needed me to be. And I just went like this because I didn't have time for that. So when I reactivated it, it was like, this is such a natural thing to me. I can't believe I ever shut it off.
Mm.
And like the biggest thing for me was like clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Like seeing and hearing was a big thing for me. Like going about my day, and like with our business, our restaurant that we owned, I used to be like, it was always when you would think you have to be the most conscious to know when this is coming in. It would be when I would be the most unconscious. So I'd be like scrubbing away in the kitchen, and there's like sentences coming into my head, and I'm like, what? Like seeing if anyone's around me, and then realizing, oh, I was receiving messages.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only gotten stronger and stronger the more I have worked with it and allowed it to not be something that you have to be scared of or ashamed of, or, oh my God, you're a witch.
It was so funny that before you said that, I heard the word bruja in my head. Like, this is what we're talking about. Like, you become telepathic. When you just open yourself up to it, like, I heard what she was going to say before she said it. What the fuck? In Spanish. That's hilarious. But yeah, this is exactly it. Like, this is such an important part. Like, learning that we're all intuitive, that you have a strongest gift. You have all of them. But we start with like, what's your strongest one? We're going to stay here for a minute and we're going to like expand this one. And then we're going to show you that you have all of them. And it's so eye-opening, and it's like, it starts to get really fun. Another thing that we also learn is about the Celtic wheel. So basically like the spring, the summer, the fall, the winter, the cycles of the earth, the seasons of the earth. This is also tied to when I talked in the beginning of this broadcast about the 40-day meditation and the Kirtan Kriya that we practice, which is Satanama, which is birth, life, death, and rebirth. Spring, summer, fall, winter, everything correlates together into like this really beautiful cohesive lesson. And the biggest lesson in why we would study all this, the seasons and the cycles, is because learning about cycles and our connection to the earth, and the lessons that come from knowing that things come into existence, they express themselves, things live out their existence. Like there's an experimenting aspect of it, that there's an integration aspect to life, and then there's a transcendent. Like, this is a cycle. Like, life is a constant flow of us going through these cycles over and over again. So we see them like cosmically, We see them galactically, you know, we see them like planetary, and we see them individually in our own lives. This it's like this is nature. This is the nature of the universe. So learning about these cycles is so important, because then you begin to say, okay, I'm going through these cycles too. If the earth is going through the cycles, if the universe is going through these cycles, I'm going through these cycles too. What can I learn here? And what part of the cycle am I in right now? Am I in the birth part of a cycle? Am I in like the life or the death or the rebirth? And when you allow, you stop getting so stuck with things in life in general. What was your favorite thing about learning the Celtic wheel and just the cycles in general?
Yeah, this one was like very confirming,
Mm.
very, very confirming or validating to me, because I am like a little earth fairy and I am out in nature 24/7, whether I'm sweating or I'm freezing. And I'm always like, I've always been one to notice the changes, but I don't know if it's because of like the way society trains you to be, that like you stop flowing
Mm.
with these natural rhythms and cycles. So it's like, and the biggest one is the calendar new year. The amount of times I would be so hard on myself and so depressed because why can't I just frickin' follow through with one tiny little New Year's resolution? And then, like, because my body knows, like, I'm so frickin' tired, like, in these times, like, why am I forcing myself? And these were like, oh, you're actually supposed to be resting in this time. Like, this is like transcendence phase. Like, you're not supposed to be doing anything. And then knowing, like, you can feel when spring comes, you can feel your body light up. So it was like, oh, it was like almost like putting names and like meaning behind what my body was feeling, but I was resisting the whole time. So it was,
It's natural for us
mhm,
to align with these cycles, but we have
mhm.
really repressed this and pushed it away to the point where we don't even notice it anymore. Like, I remember there was a time in my life where I was like, what's a full moon?
Yeah.
Like, what? I didn't
Mhm.
even look up at the moon ever. Like, I was like, it was not even a thing. I mean,
Mhm.
I knew what a full moon was, but you know what I mean? Like, what's the meaning of it? Like, what do you mean there's a full moon? And I'm like, well, look at it. You know what I mean? It's like, hello. We have completely disconnected. Modern life has completely disconnected us from these natural cycles. But life is like this. We like, our life is literally a cycle of birth, life, and death, and then
Mhm.
rebirth, you know, through karma. So it's like, to me, the point of all of this is like acceptance, self-love, you know, growth, expansion, awareness. All of these things are going to change your life. They're going to change your freaking life.
Mhm.
And do you want to share about, like, you know, once you completed the whole program, what was like, what would you say you got out of it?
The biggest thing was I took my own life back.
Mm.
My whole life I gave away to everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
then there was just this moment where all of a sudden my whole body reacted. And that's when I dove into the moon goddess training.
Mm-hmm.
And like it cracked me open. Like you said, it peeled away all these layers of the onion. But when I finally finished, it was like, I can do these tough things. I can do it on my own because I did this training through the absolute toughest fucking times of my life. The absolute shittiest times of my life. Like being in a family business, which I know that I signed up for, but like when eventually my body started to shut down and I was like, this is not fucking for me anymore. I can't do it. It's sucking the life out of me. There was that. There was like before the training, my partner who I will love in many lifetimes, he passed away. And I was in a relationship that destroyed every part of me. I did the moon goddess training through that. And just having the support of Jai and then the women for a whole fucking year made me feel like I'm not alone. And even if I do feel like I'm alone, I have this beautiful, I feel like I'm gonna fucking cry. This beautiful fucking group of women that are gonna help me when I can't help myself, literally lift me up and be like, we fucking got you and you can do this. And I did it. And like, when I look back at my life, X amount of years, I'm like, whoa, girl, you really freaking skyrocketed. Like, holy freaking shit.
Yeah.
So
That's
I like,
so...
if I could literally preach this to everyone, do it. Like, just fucking do it. Take the leap on yourself. Don't let this decide if you're going to do it or not. Follow this.
Yeah.
Because it's always going to guide you exactly where you need to be.
That's so beautiful. And honestly, you made me cry too. Life, the earth is changing in a way that is like, it's going to require everything you've got to get through the shit that's coming on the planet. Like, no joke. It's going to require you to be this freaking aware and conscious. And if you're not, you're going to get like run over by the bus of Selena. Just kidding.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. No, it's like, this is it. The world needs you to be at your best. The world needs you to be aligned in yourself, in who you are. And this program is literally designed to help you do that, to find yourself. So I want to talk about the kind of like the investment aspect of this. But before we do, I just want to mention that if anybody has any questions about the program, if you happen to be watching the replay and you're like, oh, I want to know this or I want to know that, please ask the questions like in the comments and I will respond to you in the comments. Even just I would like you guys to know, I would like you guys to share with me, what was your favorite thing about everything we shared? Like, what would you be the most excited about learning about in the Moon Goddess training? And put it in the comments below. And also make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if there's any questions here live in the chat, we will answer them as well. Feel free to put them on there. In the meantime, I'm going to share the website, the webpage for the Moon Goddess training and talk a little bit about the investment of this program, which again, it's like priceless. What you get is so much more than the amount that you're going to be putting into it. But I have updated all of the payment links. This page, which is linked below in the description of this video, holds all the information for all 3 levels. I recommend that you sign up for all 3. And that's because it's like a full journey. If you just do 1, that's great. If you just do 2, that's great. But if you do all 3, you're going to get the complete experience and you're going to leave like on the other side, like feeling empowered, at your best, that hairline moon center, like the goddess, the moon goddess that you are. And it's going to be phenomenal for not just for you in your life. A lot of the women too that graduate, it's like they'll finish this training and then they have something they can actually charge for, Akashic readings. Like you could literally start your own business after this. So it's kind of fucking cool. But I recommend all 3 levels. And I do have there's a super deal where you can buy all the 3 levels, but you only pay for 2 of them. And I updated the links so that you can choose to pay all 3 of them in full. I'm going to show you on the screen here what happens. Like when I click super deal, buy 2, get 1 free for $2,888, it takes me to like the payment page, which is on Stripe. And on Stripe, the options that you get here, you can try Klarna or Affirm to do personalized payment plans if you're going to pay it in full. The other thing I want to share with you is there's a payment plan. I went ahead and added it onto the page. So for those of you that are like, I want to do the payment plan personally with me. This is directly with me, not through Klarna. So if you click on this, the payment plan is going to be $244 per month for 12 months. And you can also do the Klarna thing here. So, but it's 12 months, 12 payments of $244 per month for all 3 levels. And then if you decide that you just want to do, like you just want to do level 1, again, I don't recommend you doing it this way because the deal is amazing. You click on level 1 and you can pay $1,444 and try the Klarna or the Affirm to do a personalized payment plan. I don't offer payment plans through me for just signing up for 1 level. I do offer them for all 3 levels, but just wanted to share that with you. So with that, if anyone has any questions that they want to ask me directly, feel free to message me. My email is jaigobind@channelforgrace.com. We definitely would love to see you guys at this training. One really fun thing, we're going to start February 17th. You know what day that is? That day is the new moon solar eclipse in Aquarius. It's where the Aquarius and the Leo eclipses start coming in. And that day is the start of the year of the fire horse, which is like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this year of the fire horse. It's not even funny. Like we're going to like get our wings and fly, you know, we're going to be like Pegasus, but it's like passion, freedom, like think about like horsepower, you know, embodying horsepower. We've been shedding, we've been releasing, we've been letting go with the year of the snake. Now it's time to like freaking go. And I can't wait. We always start on a new moon. And it just so happens that this year's new moon that we're starting on is an eclipse, which every time that you begin something, whatever, especially with the moon goddess training, that new moon is like marks like the story of of the journey. So the story is the fire horse, and the story is like an Aquarius eclipse, which represents the future, which represents tribe, which represents community, the people. So also it's times of powerful change, regeneration. It's going to be so potent this year. It's going to be so freaking potent. So definitely would love to see you there if you feel the call. Is there anything else that you'd like to share, Ashley, before we finish today?
I'm not going to cry anymore. But seriously, come join us and buckle the fuck up for your life to literally change in the most beautiful way ever. Period. But like the fire horse energy is literally going to take us the whole freaking way.
I know. Yeah,
What?
I can't even wait for that. I also forgot to mention that Ashley has joined me on this journey so that I could provide like an enhanced experience, because we're going to be doing personal, like private, like sessions with you for each of the levels. Like in level 1, we're just like getting you used to like your astrology, and we even can look at your human design and your gene keys. Like we meet with you to kind of help you to set an intention for the program. We meet actually twice with you, maybe even 3 times. I can't remember exactly for the level 1, but then level 2, we meet with you outside and we do like a soul retrieval for the inner child journey related to the Venus sequence. I mean, like what? And then for level 3, we do there's like a practice session with us where we give you like feedback and stuff, and you get to connect with us. So there is you're not just getting the lectures, you're getting weekly sessions where we're coming together. We're going into the Akashic Records together. We're doing meditations together. We're talking, we're sharing, we're building like community, getting to know each other. I mean, oh man, you're getting so much. And then you're getting personalized sessions with us outside of the class where you get like our full kind of attention, and you get to ask whatever questions you have and help you along the program. So the support is immense for this program. I think it's really, really, really well designed. I don't even know how I did it, but I did it. All right. We're gonna complete. We feel complete now. We're so excited that you watched this video. Thank you again. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up. Also hit the notification bell for the channel itself. leave a comment below. What was your favorite thing? What are you most excited to learn about in this program? Are you going to sign up? Let us know, like hype it up in the comments. And also, I want to share with you, I shared this video in the beginning, but we're going to end with this video again at the end. It is basically like the trailer for the Moon Goddess training. It is, I'm really excited, and I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope that you that we see you on February 17th. So Satnam, everyone. Have a good night. We'll be back next week to talk about the same way, but we're going to talk all about level 2. Satnam.
Guru, Guru Waheguru. Before time was measured, before the world became loud, there was a remembering written in your soul. A remembering of who you are, beneath the roles, the striving, the forgetting. There comes a time when the veil thins and the old ways of living no longer fit. You feel it as a pull, a quiet ache, a knowing that something ancient within you is ready to awaken. This is the path of alignment. Alignment is not effort. It is remembrance. When you align, your intuition sharpens like a flame, your energy settles into your body, your life begins to move in rhythm with the unseen. The Moon Goddess training is a sacred initiation into this remembrance. Through the Akashic Records, the timeless field of soul memory, you journey beyond time and space into the ancient temples of the Nile. As you enter them, something within you unlocks. Layers dissolve, old wounds soften, your inner sight opens. You remember how to listen, how to trust, how to move through life, guided rather than forced. This is the return of the aligned woman, rooted in her body, open in her heart, clear in her knowing. She no longer searches outside herself. She remembers the way. If your soul is listening now, this is your invitation. The Moon Goddess training begins soon, and the path opens the moment you say yes.